I was watching things in the thing, in the video. I honestly don't know what goes on in my head sometimes when I can't get words out. Hello, you lovely people of the internet, and welcome to another day of me being seriously messed up. And today's seriously messed up is a Monday, and that means it was shopping day. Now, I promised you a montage. I did, and I had every plan this morning to get up and hand baby tacking the camera to the widge, and she could film me walking to the shop, walking around Sainsbury's, doing all the things that a fat trans chick does, walking around Sainsbury's. But you know what? I forgot. I know. So I promised you B-roll, and that means there is going to be B-roll. I'll talk a little bit about my day so we can get the B-roll over with. Because, like, having B-roll in the first thingy, I'll explain it later. Well, I won't, but it's nice to say that I will. So after getting back from the shopping, I sat down for a bit and I did a little bit of script writing, plotting, thinking ahead for the future, what this was going to entail, how I was going to develop all these wonderful ideas that I have into a montage of some sort. After that, I went to the toilet. Well, I went to the toilet a couple of times, actually. But sometimes the motorbikes are just too loud, and like, what am I supposed to do when that happens? Just what am I supposed to do? And I made myself some coffee, which was nice for a change, having some coffee and spending a bit of time wandering around my kitchen making coffee, you know. Well, it's just like what normal everyday stuff, really. It's nothing special. My days are quite boring like that. Nothing special at all. And so really, you know, with. Now that's the thing we have here in this flat, actually. We have with. Because it happens when either me or the widge, we say something, you know, oh, it's with, because you can't remember what it is that you're going to say, so you say with again. So it's with, and then you get with. And it's like, oh God, no, not with. And I've got no idea what I was talking about now because I've just with myself. So with the B-roll out of the way, because like I promised you B-roll, you've got B-roll. I would love to have B-roll right through the thing, but my days are like boring, you know. What can I talk about? What can I talk about today? Because, like, you know, for all my script writing, it wasn't that good. It's not the best script I've ever written because, like, I didn't really have anything to talk about. I just had a few bullet points, and that's all I'm working from here. You know, and I'll go back to, like, what I was looking at. I mean, you can see it in the montage of like, me. I say montage. You can see it in the clip of me doing stuff. I had a questionnaire today, actually. I remembered this now, but I've had to look at my bullet points because I'd forgotten what I was doing. I had a questionnaire, and it was asking me about, like, my class and how I feel about my class, whether I identify with it. And it wasn't really a questionnaire. There was multiple choice, and then a little bit of a box to explain why you chose what you chose. And what I chose was, like, none of the above, because none of the things kind of fit me. Because while I might feel pride or something, there were some things there wasn't an option for it to say. So I'll talk a bit about how I feel about my class, because my class, I come from an underclass, right? I'm a recovering drug addict. I'm practically unemployable because of my history of being a carer and being unemployed and being a drug addict. I mean, you know, the drug addict thing was like 30 years ago. But it's still a burden in a lot of ways, because there's a big gap in my life. There's a 10-year gap in my life where I was very, very unwell with mental health problems and a drug addiction. Then I was a carer. So I've I'm unemployable. I've got loads of skills, but I haven't got a single piece of paper that says I can do any of them. People only employ you when you've got a piece of paper. So I'm underclass anyway. I'm the dregs. But I don't come from that. I come from working class. My parents were working class. My brother was working class. My family is working class. And I'm a socialist. I'm a proud socialist. I've always been a socialist. My dad was a socialist, a union member and a socialist. Not sure about what my mum was. I assume she was a socialist, but I don't think that my mum thought the same of politics the way my dad did. And I don't even really know what my dad thought about politics because he never talked about it. I just knew that he'd go to union meetings and he was very involved in it. And I remember asking him as a kid, but I can't remember what was said because it was a long time ago. It was like 40 years ago. It was like I can barely remember what I did yesterday, never mind 40 years ago, or what was said. So that's my background is that, and I'm really proud in a lot of ways. I say in a lot of ways, I'm proud to be from the working class family, and I'm proud of all the things that the working class achieves because we are the grist for the mill. We are the things. Without the working class, the very wealthy would not be very wealthy. And the idea that working class can work the way up. It's a nice idea, but it's very difficult. And I wouldn't say that it's very difficult because that some people would never see you as being like them, even though you were. If you become middle class, whatever that means, how would other people, middle class people, say, well, you're not real middle class? It's like, I think of like middle class as like, it's working class people who have worked hard to, especially in these times now, to be able to buy a house and make form a company, have a successful company doing something from nothing. Or from nobody ever does anything from nothing, do they? Because there's always somebody, either standing on somebody's shoulders or somebody's helping you up. So you're standing on somebody's head rather than the shoulders. You're either stepping over people or there's people lifting you up. There always is. You never do anything on your own without other people. But I struggle understanding these things. Of what middle class really is, because if it's about money and about owning stuff, there's loads of people. I own loads of crap, but I live in social housing, and I'm a coffee snob, but not really a coffee snob because if somebody gave me like a cup of Nescafe, as long as he didn't put 2 scoops of it in, it just makes it really bitter and weird, I would drink it. I'm not that kind of coffee snob. I mean, I'd drink it with like too much in it, but I would just not drink all of it because it would be a bit astringent in me go. Same with tea. I don't like really, really strong tea for the same reason. It's very astringent. But I'm not really a snob. But I like to think I am. I'm a fake snob, a faux snob. That amuses me no end. So I didn't say all that because I'm thinking about other things now. But my sort of like... So I'm proud of me background. But I'm also scared for the future because I see in society people have spoken to, so it's only sort of like what's the word? Come on, brain, do your thing. Anecdotal, thank you, brain. So it doesn't mean that it's as prevalent as I might think it is. It's the things from the right wing, the idea. This fascism that we've got going on now, that is people believing that it's a grassroots thing. It's like, how can you do that when you've got people like Elon Musk, the richest man in the world, pumping money into it? He's definitely not a socialist, and he definitely hasn't got people's best interests at heart, because he's definitely a standing on other people's heads to get there person. A bit like, what's his face? Lord Sugar, he's another one. He might have made himself very, very rich, but he got there by standing on people and selling shit PCs. I shouldn't be so hard. It's like, because it's capitalism. The whole point of capitalism is you have to stand on people to get to the top. There isn't a way of doing it without standing on people. It's what you do when you get up there. If, when you get up there, you then help all the people and all the things and everything that you've stood on to get there, then maybe that's okay. But I don't think people like Alan Sugar do, or J.K. Rowling, or Donald Trump, or Elon Musk, or my mate Jeff Bezos. I mean, he's one of my best mates, if you can believe that. You know, he sends me emails every day. And I send him emails, usually asking for stuff, and he wants money for it. But, you know, we're in communication, me and Jeff Bezos. You know, even him, he stood on a lot of people to get where he is. But does he give money to all the people below him that he stood on? Does he help people? He certainly doesn't help people who work for him. So I don't think that he does. And I don't understand how people can be like that. Because if I became that ridiculously wealthy, my first thing would be, how could I make the most benefit of what I've got for other people, for my community? Like now, in Stonehouse, where I live, there's loads of things that I would do. And there's loads of things that I know that, like, for instance, giving somewhere like I don't know, if I become a multi-millionaire, right, whatever that is, whatever that, I mean, the only way I could do that is like winning the lottery or inheriting something. And for me to be inheriting something, I don't even know I'd be inheriting that off, because, like, I don't think any of my family's rich, certainly not my immediate family. I mean, there might be, and you know, I might have uncles that I've long forgotten about. I don't think there's many of my uncles and aunties left now, which is really sad. I think my Uncle Tommy's still alive. I like my Uncle Tommy. He's the one we used to see the most of, my Uncle Tommy. I haven't seen him for a very long time. But anyway, that's family stuff. If I became incredibly wealthy, there's places like Leadworks that I would like, it'd be a no-brainer to give them £1 million. Or well, you know, maybe that'd be too much for... Oh, sod off bikes. We're going to get a bike in a minute. Oh no, I think he's being nice about it. I take it back. I mean, to me, like, giving money to Leadworks would be a really fantastic thing, because I know they would do so much good with it. And, you know, the directors actually deserve to be paid, and like to be able to give the support needed to make it so they can have a business model where they can do that. And, I mean, I would absolutely do that. I wouldn't... It'd be one of the first things I'd do, because I love the place. Even though I'm moving away, it's like my heart is in Plymouth and in Leadworks. But, you know, I'm going to be moving away. I know I'm going off topic now, but like I always go off topic, don't I? You know, I'm hoping this doesn't jinx it or anything, but it looks like I've found a swap in Liverpool, but it won't happen until next year. So that gives me another year of being in Plymouth to sort everything out that I need to sort out, which would be really cool. So I'm hoping it works out, because she absolutely wants to move to Plymouth. She doesn't want to go through all the multi-swap thing, the same that I don't. So it works for both of us. It's absolutely fantastic thing. So I'm hoping that it works out. I'm hoping it works out for us both, because I don't want that nightmare where she's waiting for a kid to finish the GCSEs, and then being able to move would be fantastic. I'm going back to Liverpool. I say back to Liverpool. I've never lived in Liverpool, but I've lived in Birkenhead. But I'm not going to Birkenhead. Although I was looking at house swaps again, there was a house swap came up, right? It would have been a direct one. There used to be a bit of Birkenhead just off Hoxton Road called Oak Bank, and my mate Wally used to live there. Right, Wally, I don't know if you watch these, but if you do, I don't know if he does. He probably doesn't, because he doesn't give a shit. But anyway, and the flats that they've built there now that replaced Oak Bank is like, there's a flat if somebody wants to swap from there to Plymouth, and part of me kind of wants to do that just because it's going back to like Birkenhead and like by the place where Wally lived, and there's a kind of like there's a thing that, because like Wally was my best mate for a long time, but I don't really want to go to Birkenhead. I want to stay away from Birkenhead if I can. Although, again, this thing in my head, if I'm living in Liverpool, there's nothing stopping me getting the train over to Birkenhead and going to Wirral Mind and maybe volunteering there, because Wirral Mind is where I started this journey. And if I could, it would be nice for it to close off in the same kind of way. You know, when things go a full circle. It's something my sponsor talked to me about. And I've always bought into the idea. It's like you come from a village, you go away, you experience the world, and then you bring the world back to your village. I would like to do that. But things move on, and like I'm not the same person I was back then. And Wirral Mind isn't going to be the same place it was when I left 20 odd years ago. So, you know, these things, while it's a nice idea, it's only something I can think about, you know. I've long lost track of where I was, what I was talking about. I know it was something to do with class. I forgot where that dropped off. I forgot what I dropped off on before I started talking about moving to Liverpool. I have no idea. It's been a ride that I was not expecting to have, and it's going to be a nightmare to edit. But at least I've got B-roll, which I promised, and at least I've got... it'll come back to me in a minute. And at least I've got... And at least I've... At least I've got the outtakes for the start. It's a winner. Thank you for putting up with me. And I'll see you tomorrow. Love yous. Bye. Fuck me, that was mental.